to be able to have this conversation this morning. And we'll talk about some of the things that are going on. I'm excited to share with Wanda what I'm doing versus what she's doing. So she's been in the community, I think, a little bit longer than I have. Oh, a little bit shorter. And you know what? This girl is showing me up. So, super excited. I think I talked to her a few weeks ago, and she said she had done 38 transactions. I think she's probably done two more since I even invited her to come on to Coffee and Conversation. So, but I'm going to bring her out. I'm just so grateful that you're here. We're going to save some time for some Q&A, but first I just really want to dig deep in this conversation because for me, if you guys know me, I'm the touchy-feely one and I want to know about Wanda, and I know you guys do too. So I would love to introduce to you my friend that I haven't been able to really chat with in a while. So this is going to be catch-up time for us, and you guys get to come along for the ride. But hi, Wanda, and let me make sure I was learning how to say your name, Karaskia.
Yeah, that's good. Good enough.
Yay.
That's good, yo.
Okay. Okay. And so
No.
you're in Kissimmee, Florida right now.
Yes.
Okay. Nice. Well, I will be in Orlando this week.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we also have a property tour at 11 in Orlando today,
Oh, today?
alive in Zoom. Yeah, so
Good.
super excited about all the things to come. But let's see. So, when did you join our community, Wanda?
So for me, I joined and bought the education and everything in November 2016.
Okay.
But December was coming along, and December I didn't really do anything. So really, my journey started in January 2017. And
Okay.
so January 2017, my plan was for me to study, and by October, I was counting the days for me to retire from my
Wow.
job. And
That's pretty
the-
dramatic.
yeah,
Wow.
and then I said by October I will have a deal, and I will replace my income, and I had everything planned. So I was studying January, February, March. And at the end of March, so this year is going to be the 5 years anniversary, I got the call, sayonara, arrivederci, bye-bye, adios. I got fired from the job. So
Oh,
months before my retirement.
wow. So let's go back a little bit because I'm super eager to understand. I know a little, but so tell me a little bit about your background. So you're originally from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
I know you have a wonderful family and some stories with raising children and that kind of thing. So tell me a little bit about your journey starting back to,
Yes.
wherever
Well,
you want to start.
I was grown in a nice middle class family, and my my plan was like my parents have gone to college and everything. My mom was a nurse, and my dad was like the vice president of this water company. It's a government agency, but he was there for 40, actually longer than I live. So he retired from there. So what he told me was like, you get a good education, you get a good job, and you retire from that job. So I grew up with that mentality in mind, but it wasn't resonating really to me. And I did that. I went to college. I got my bachelor's degree by 21. I was done, and I started my job as a teacher. And I already
Oh,
had been married, and I have two kids and everything, and then becoming a teacher. And I worked in Puerto Rico 2 years, and then I decided then I went through a divorce, and then I decided to move, and I moved to Florida in 1988 with three children and two luggage, one with their clothes and one with my clothes, and $800 in my pocket and by
wow.
myself. And I started my journey here by myself. And that's when I decided, hey, I don't need anybody to be abusing me or hitting me every day or whatever. I can do this by myself. And at the age of 25, I got divorced, and I was with my three kids, one of which was special needs child. Back then, they didn't diagnose him as that as how you call it, the autistic, because he was very loving. And right now we know, all the spectrum of autism, but before then in the 80s, they didn't know. So
Wow.
anyway, actually on Tuesday, it will be his 39th birthday, 38th birthday. And, but he passed away almost 8 years ago.
Wow.
And so I went through a lot of different things. And once in Florida, I had my bachelor's degree and everything, so I can work in here. But
Hmm.
because of language barriers, I knew English, but not enough to really stand in front of a class and teach a science class because I was a
Wow.
science teacher. So I worked in a lot of different things. I worked at hotel doing housekeeping. I worked everywhere, day and night. Have two jobs and everything to support my kids. And then this dream of becoming better and this entrepreneur desire flourish. And I had, before that, I have sell things, like Amway, or, well, actually like Avon or makeup or jewelry or whatever when I was in college. But once I was here, I became part of this company Amway. And it was, because networking began to um, inspire me to do something that it could be bigger. But I worked that very, very hard for 2 years. Every night doing, showing the plan, showing the plan, driving sometimes all the way to New York, developing a team. I had like 100 people in my team and stuff like that. But the money wasn't there. And I remember one occasion in which I went to New York, and coming back to Florida, it took me over 36 hours because I was so tired and so tired that I needed to stop every time to in rest area to sleep a little bit. And then I drove a little bit more, and then I slept, and then it was really, really exhausting. So really, success doesn't really come overnight. It's being shaped. It's like diamonds. Diamonds are put into pressure for a long time until they bright and then they shine, right? And that's what I think happens to me. And then I went to different companies and companies and companies. I can name
Wow.
a bunch of companies, but that was my beginning of desiring to do something and dream bigger, dream higher.
So I have a few questions. Sorry, I'm emailing Bill Omi the link. I have to help him get into all these rooms, and he didn't want to miss you. So,
Okay.
um, okay, so why Florida? But I'm so excited. So put a pin in that. I want to hear everything. But
Yes.
what made you pick Florida?
When I came to Florida in 1988, it was because in Puerto Rico, having my son with special needs, they were beginning, this was back in the 80s, and at the end of
Right,
the 80s. So they were
right.
beginning to incorporate in the school system special education, and it was pretty much in papers, but not in actual development. So I knew I needed more services for my son. And a friend of mine have moved to Florida, and she said, "Oh, I just bought a house there." So I did, oh, okay, so Florida. So it was kind of, but in here, I found better resources for him than in
Nice.
Puerto Rico.
Okay, okay. Which I love Puerto Rico, by the way.
Yes, and it's beautiful. Yeah.
I've only been a few times, but
Yeah.
okay. So that's why Florida, and now you've got family there.
Yeah,
That
my mom just moved right after me, and then my sister, and then my
okay,
kids grew, and well, my oldest daughter lives here with her kids, and then I
nice.
have uncles and nephews and nieces, and a lot of families is
That's
here.
so nice. Now, how many kids do you have?
I have
I know.
three, and
Okay.
two alive and one who passed away. And the thing is, I was here for 10 years, and I struggled. I went back to school to learn English better and to communicate better, like English, conversational English. And then I finally got into school, and I was working in the school system here in Osceola County School District.
Oh
And I
yeah.
worked here for several years, like 5 years. But then my son then started growing, and his behavior was getting worse.
Right.
And I needed to get better services. And the doctor, it was at the point that he was really aggressive. He was about 13, 14 years old. And he was getting really aggressive. And they said, you have to put it in a group home. So, and that was a very hard decision. But when I investigated here in Florida, the closest one was like 3 hours away from me. And I wasn't going to do that. If I was going to put him in an assisted living facility, I needed to be something closer to me that I can go
Right.
visit him when I want it. So that's when I went to Utah, and then that was in at the end of 1997. And then I found better services in Utah for special needs and for senior citizens and so on. So I moved to Utah at the end of 1997.
Wow, that was one of my questions because I knew you were living in Utah when I first met you, I think. So,
So I've been in
okay.
Utah since then, and that's kind of still my home base home. I haven't changed my driver license, although I am going to need to change it now because homestead and so on, otherwise I
Right.
won't be able to claim my home here in Florida. So I may need to change my address next week. But
Did you know anybody in Utah when you were looking for those services?
well, I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so
Okay.
I looked in my book, my church book and stuff, and I found the missionaries who taught me the gospel, and then I contacted him, and he was so grateful to see me after 13 years, and I went, and he invited me to his house, and then I found a job. The same
Nice.
weekend that I was there, I found a job, and I came back to Florida, pick up my stuff, and left. I rented a U-Haul, then put up my stuff, put my car there, and start driving 3 days and 2 nights,
Wow.
and got
You know
to
what?
Utah.
I am hearing such sheer grit and determination, and I've always known that about you, but I'm really enjoying hearing this. And I had no idea that you had been a teacher.
Uh-huh.
So that's teachers are actually amazing people to me, and just because they help me raise my children. So that there's a lot of things that are just pretty incredible. Just, I'm curious. So you were trying those different things like the Amway and the driving
Yeah, on
and
the side, I
yeah.
always was doing
And
something different.
so
Uh-huh.
you always had that sales type
Yes.
background, or you knew that was a way to um create or be able to do better or make more. Is that
Definitely. My dream was to give my kids a better life. And there were occasions, as a single mother, just raising the kids, that it was Christmas and I only had like $20 in my pocket.
I can really
And
relate.
I have to I remember this like vividly. I went to the dollar store and I'm like looking at gift, and I'm like $1 gift. And I'm like, do I spend these $20 on crappy gift that they're gonna break in a minute? Because honestly, or I put gas in my car, and I definitely have to put gas in my car. So I didn't buy anything that Christmas. Luckily, I have a good support system through the church. And one day, that particular Christmas, I heard a big knock on the door, and when I opened, it was a mountain of gift that was donated to me. And that was kind of a miracle in my life that has happened many, many times, but it's kind of a testimony for me that you're never alone, that God is always there for you, even in the lowest places that you can feel, where you feel like there's not an end. There is always an end. There's always something better.
Wow. I think this is the first time I've cried in my coffee and conversations, Wanda. I love this. Well, that's very impressive that your desire to not be afraid to go out and hone in on those sales skills, not knowing. And when you were driving back and forth and your kids were with you, is that
No, my mom moved to Florida, so
okay?
she watched them
Okay,
a lot. She watched them a
nice,
lot.
nice.
And that is what now I'm in Florida again, because she just had been diagnosed with starting dementia.
Oh,
And I see her so fragile, and I don't have any other way to pay her other than being with her.
Wow.
down here because she watched my kids and she did a lot of things for me. And now it's my
Wow.
time to be with her.
I love that. I love that. And so I'm getting off track here, but
Sorry,
I'm just
I don't know,
I
somebody's here.
know. This is
I
what we
haven't,
would this
I
is what we
haven't
would be
told,
doing. Yes,
yeah,
if we were by ourselves.
I
So
haven't told my story in a long time. I remember one day asked me about this. It's like, you've been successful in Renatus and everything. In 8 months, you did six-figure income and everything. But what happened before?
yeah.
And it was not until that moment that I realized success didn't come overnight. I had years and years of years trying this and that and this and that, and preparing myself for this. You know.
It's an incredible story, and there's lots more to it. So you're in Utah, and just a side note, I don't want to get us off track of the journey, but you just recently went and spent time with your grandmother,
Ah,
correct? Because
yeah.
you needed to be there for her, and now she's passed on. And how old was she?
Yeah, that's another thing. I moved to Utah, so let me
Okay.
fill in the gaps there. I moved
Thank
to
you.
Utah, and I then decided, well, I have to do more. So let me get into my master degrees. So I began my master degrees and I did my first one. And then I'm like, I want to be a professor at the university. I want to have a PhD behind my name. So I enrolled in my PhD program and I was, doing my classes and so on, but I failed my PhD. And literally, when I said I have two master's degree is because I failed literally my PhD. So the faculty told me you either take a second master or you start again. So I'm like, I'm out of here. Give me a second master. Bye. So I left and, with a second master, that's why I have two masters. But
Wow.
it was again that desire for me to open doors, open doors, open doors. I even got involved into politics in Utah. And I was very, very, very involved in politics with the governor and everything, run some campaigns. And I was very successful on that as well. And just, I learned that if you have the relationships, you can get wherever you want, you know,
Yes.
because you build trust with people and relationship can take you better. And that's one of the reasons why I failed my PhD, because I was in this faculty, education, culture, and society, and they wanted to brainwash me that because I'm Latina, that I'm oppressed. I'm like, no, I'm not oppressed. I'm as higher as you as gringo. So I fought with my professors a lot. And because I said, I speak with an accent, but I don't think with an accent. And I know I'm pretty smart, so I don't have to feel like you oppressed. Yes, I have felt occasions in which somebody have given me some actions of oppression or discrimination, but in reality, is that person ignorance. I cannot
Yeah.
make that a collective being,
No,
not a
no.
collective. And in my faculty, it was a collective. Oh, the white people are against the brown people. And no, I'm
Oh,
not into that. So
no.
that's why I fought so much. And my theory, instead of using their theory, my theory was in my dissertation was mostly social capital. And social capital is when you do have your relationships. If you know the ropes, you can get higher as you want. You can get it. It's just you need to know the ropes. And what is
Right.
happening in society is that people don't know the resources. People don't know where to go. That's why Renatus is so important, because if they don't know what they don't know, like you said,
Yeah.
then they don't know how
Right.
to succeed. I'm building this community here in Florida, and people don't have clue how the banks are working. They don't know. Especially in our Latino community, they come from other countries where the system is different, and then they come here and the system is different and they don't know. So we need to have a momentum to share what we have in our education so they learn that there is a different way of doing things. And that
Right.
comes from social capital. when you develop that capital knowledge and succeed.
That's pretty powerful. Thank you for sharing that. I still want to continue this journey, but I really have to say to you, where do you think this determination and grit came from the beginning? Was it being a mom, or was it, when I'm just so impressed with that. I raised my kids by myself too, so I know
Yeah. So
you all.
I think if I look back, even when I was a little girl, I always have determination. Like nobody tells me what to do. It's like
I like
I
it.
said, I was like a old little girl, old person in actually 35 because I'm still feeling like I'm 35.
Me
I,
too.
I stop at 35 inside me, like my soul, so it was like a 35, 40 years old person in a body of a little girl, making decisions and doing things that, that you never knew. I was very, very determined since I was little. And then my grandparents on my mom's side, they had stores, they have sales skills, and I always was with them, like helping them. And in my
Okay.
dad's side also, my grandparents always were selling something. And
Okay.
so I think I learned from them that the selling and having businesses is better than working for somebody else. Although my father, being the first generation of finishing school, he thought that that was the better way than having a business. If you look at history in the United States, that's the pattern, right? Because of the depression. And then people began to have more stability, supposedly with the social security and all of these invents that they did in the government. But
Right.
that doesn't exist anymore. That was
No.
like in the 40s. And my dad, and back in the 60s, he chosen to go back to school at the age of 35, graduated, and then held for that job for 45, 47 years,
Wow.
and and I couldn't do that. The more I stayed in a
Me
job, it's like
neither.
10 years, and it was because it was a part-time and I can get away a lot of time.
Right,
But
right.
yeah.
That is this is so exciting. So you're in Utah and the schooling, and so were you still trying to do some of the sales type part-time things in Utah, or
In Utah, because then I said, and I got the opportunities back into my life because I was so focused in politics and
okay,
in
okay,
schooling. Then the first few years, that's what I spent my time,
okay,
being part of the community and be very active, in community promoting things, and then in the political realm, and then my schooling. And when I back in 2008, I believe it was when I finished and I got that second master.
mm-hmm,
And then I was working at the university level, and I was comfortable. I was making $60,000 a year, and I have to have a part time. But then my kids have grown. One went to college, the other one came back to Florida. My oldest one came back to Florida, and she's been here since. And the youngest one went to college, and it's like, I'm by myself. And I decided to be stable, so I was kind of comfortable where I
right,
was. But my desire always, like, I'm done, I'm tired
yeah,
working many hours. I have to have my university job, plus my part-time job, and I got tired of being tired. I'm
right,
like, no, this is not a way. This is not a way. So one of my friends decided, talk to me about real estate. And I have two friends who have invested in real estate and they live a pretty good life. One is in Puerto Rico. Her husband died, but he was a contractor.
oh,
And he built a lot of houses for her. And in their own house, different apartments and stuff. The other one who was in Utah, and she's the one who actually got me into getting into a school. She also went through a divorce, but she had properties in Mexico. She has properties here in Utah. And then in her house is paid off, and she has the apartments on the bottom that she rents. And she's like telling me all of this about Robert Kiyosaki and how you put your passive income and cash flow. And I'm like, that's what I need. but how?
Wow.
I didn't know how. And
Right.
I always pass by like sixplex, and I'm like, I wish I can own a sixplex, because in my mind, real estate was there, but something so impossible for me, because credit, money, knowledge, and resources, support, all of that. And it's like, I can't do it. And
Right.
I felt like it was something that I can never reach,
It's like out of reach.
until my
Yeah.
friend said, you need to get an education. So I went to the Gurus event, and that was in 2015. But before that, in 2011, I left the university. I went through another divorce. Um, and I went through, I left the university, and my son got sick. So the entire year, 2012, he was in and out of the hospital. So I only kept my part-time, because my part-time was more flexible than my full-time. So my full-time at the university, I couldn't just take days and days, and be out. So I couldn't. And I left the university, I kept my part-time, and just took care of my son.
Okay.
2011, at the end of 2011, the entire 2012, and he passed away in June 2013. So that was a
Wow.
big hit.
Yeah.
I do not desire anybody. And I had my aunt lost her child, my cousin, and my cousin lost her kids. And you always go and you say a word of sympathy and whatever, but in reality, you don't know what it feels until you go through losing a child. It's like breaking your heart, like, oh. So, now I remember after that, my aunt died, and I asked my grandmother, how do you feel? And her answer was, I feel the same way that you felt. The only thing that mine is a daughter and yours is a son. So I'm like, don't say anymore. I know how you feel. So it's a hard thing, so it took me a while, about two
Right.
years or something, and that's when my friends talked to me about real estate. And when he passed away, then I converted my part-time into full-time, and that's from the job that I got fired at
Okay.
the
That's
right moment,
yeah.
because I'm grateful that that happens, because I met Renatos before then.
Right.
And after the Gurus came to town, I tried to join, because I didn't know that there's different schools, but the price was so ridiculous. And they wanted
Right.
me to do like a finance my house and do a second mortgage or whatever in my house to pay for their education. I say, no, I'm not going to do that. So I didn't enter the school. So for 1 year, I tried to do it on my own. And
Okay.
I had this brilliant idea. I'm like, if I get pre-approved, then and which I did, I got pre-approved for 180. I'm like, I can buy a house for 100,000, and the other 80 I use it to fix it. First, it doesn't work that way. And second, second, I did go and check a house for $100,000 in Rose Park, which is a very poor, lower income families housing, single family houses in Salt Lake. And I
Okay.
went and looked at the house, and I'm like, how am I going to fix this? Because
Oh
I
my
didn't have the
gosh.
knowledge, right?
Uh,
And
Overwhelming. Yeah.
so I put that dream in my burner, in my back burner again. I'm like, okay, I want to be a flipper, because that's the only show that I watch on TV, like HTV shows. And I wanted to be kind of, it's a sexy
Sure.
strategy. And by then, I have a lot of financial commitment, which I still have. I'm still working on it,
Right.
because my student loans are really high.
Right.
Having my two masters
Masters.
is a lot of money. So anyway, I have like a mortgage there. So basically, my dream was like, okay, I put it in the back burner, and I didn't do anything about it. I continue my, sedentary life, and but in my mind, it's always searching, And then one day, I'm just so glad that this person, he used to work with me, and he's like, we were conversing, and then he's like, I gotta go to my other job. What is your other job? And he's like, I do fix and flip. Fix and flip. That's what I want to learn. And he was like, really? you know. So he got a sale just like that because I was so ready to jump into it.
Wow. So he was part of
So
Renatus then.
yes, yes.
Okay.
So he told me
Nice.
about the community. He's like, "Do you know about the Elevate Investor community?" I said, "No, I have no clue." Oh yeah, we have a community. We meet on Wednesday back then, and if you want to come this Wednesday, sure. So I was there, and I saw Miss Nelson was doing the presentation, and then Clark, and I saw that. I'm like, I'm in. I'm in. I don't have any other choice. You
I
know.
love it.
Yeah, so I make my follow-up appointment. I didn't have money, but I figured it out. I applied for one credit card and they approved me $10,000. Then I'm like, if they approve me $10,000, I mean, my credit is not bad. So let me check my Discover card. So I call my Discover, they raise my limit. I call my Chase, they raise my limit. And in a minute, less than an hour, I have the money. So I
Wow.
pay for it. I'm like, I'm closing my eyes because at that moment, for me, it was a moment of decision. I was thinking, do I go back to school to finish my PhD
Right.
or do I do something different? And I was definitely just tired of being tired. I didn't want to continue working for anybody else. Was then I ended up raising my grandson, my oldest
Wow.
grandson. He came to live with me when he was 13. And literally I was working at home, but literally he left for school and left me at the computer, and he came from school and I was at the computer, and he went to bed and I was at the computer, so it was like no life.
Yeah.
Literally, sometime I went to church on Sunday and I went to church on Sunday. So
Wow.
nothing during the day, always sitting in front of the computer, working and working and working. And I was tired. Definitely, I was tired.
This is amazing because we meet a lot of people. We all do. And and even I mean it's just human nature. Sometimes people can't figure out how to get out of their own way. So I'm truly impressed and grateful for the relationship that I have with you and our community to because whenever I feel myself slipping or falling down, I just look at you or I'll look at somebody else or somebody will just kick me in the butt and say, get up. So I'm super proud of you that you said no. You saw an opportunity and you said, how can I make this work?
So I
So,
did have a plan, right? And I started studying. Like I said, January, February, March of 2017, I was doing my schooling, but I was like really slow and on my own pace because my time frame was by October, I will finish my fix and flip courses. I will have a deal and then I can replace my income. And my date to retire was October 2017. And then when I received the call that I got fired, then I'm like, what am I going to do now? I'm not going to find another job because
right.
my intention is not to have a job. So when I talked to my enroller, he's like, well, you can do the wealth cycle. Okay, tell me about it because nobody have told me anything about it that back then. So I pay my IMA was back then and ICM
Right.
now, and I started in April 2017. I started just sharing, just excited because I have no clue what I was doing, honestly. I was like Bob Snyder said that I'm a bunny, a little bunny running all over the places, and that's truly what it is.
Right.
I got this award in 2018 that is like you guys remember that the Wild Stylon Award, that big
Yes.
prize that I got, and it was because I'm all over the place, right? And honestly, I feel that I can help a lot of people. And that's kind of a mission that I have that I can help. The earnings plan is not a commission plan or a earnings plan. It's really, yes, you earn, but it's really a helping plan to me. And I'm
I
changing the wording in my presentation. I'm like, I'm going to tell you about how I help people. And I help people by using this plan. And it's completely optional, but it's really a plan that can save you because it's saving me. So in my
wow.
first 8 months alone, from April to December, I made six-figure income something that I never made, not even with 2 master's degrees, because the highest
Wow.
income it was 60,000, right? And I was excited,
That's
and then continue on, and I've been in, the top income earners for these last 5 years, which is not easy, but is possible. I always say
right.
it's possible. Mhm. So
Right. So how did that feel when you surpass that? That's April to December of 2017. That's fast.
yeah, eight
And
months in 8 months.
yeah,
That was
that's
it was easy because I did it very organically. At the beginning, the first time what happened is that my enroller, he had this incentive. And remember, I didn't have a job, so I have to make up to pay my rent. And he has this incentive, and he said, whomever bring more guests to the meeting will make $1,000. Thousand.
I think Michael mentioned that to me. That's such a cool story.
Yeah, so I literally grabbed people, my friends, and said, I go pick you up. You don't have to do anything. If you want to sleep, sleep. You do whatever. You just sit there. So it's 2 hours. Just please sit there so I can make $1,000 so I can pay my rent. That was
Wow.
my pitch to them.
Right.
So they came to help me earn the 1,000 so I can make my rent. So in my card, I brought four and I was five. So we have the card full. And another one came on her own. And then I have one online. So I have 6 people and I won. I have a picture that prove it. And then I won the $1,000 and I pay my rent. But one of the girls signed up. And I noticed that she went and make an appointment with him. So, I like, okay, she make an appointment. I didn't know for what. So I just wanted
Wow.
$1,000. And then kind of a week later, I'm like, hey, Monica, make the appointment. What happened? Oh, she signed up. Oh, she signed up. Yeah, you're making $500. Oh, really? Okay. So that's when I decided, maybe I need to invite more people. So,
That's
and then at that point, my phone really was so heavy to pick up and start calling, but I called 2 other friends and they went to the meeting to get me off their bag and they signed up because they learned about velocity banking and they got too excited. So I was actually at my nephew's wedding, and one of them, my friend, he's like, "I'm leaving." I'm like, "Where are you going?" And we were at a wedding. I'm going to meet with Mitch, and then he's like, "I I sign up." Oh, really? So that's my sale to become 5 star. So I was
wow.
5 star like in 2 weeks and it was
Wow.
amazing. And then my fourth person, then I brought him to his office and he showed me what to do with them, and then he left me alone. I'm like, what do I do now? So it was kind of from the pen to the fire, or from the fire
Right.
to the pen, whatever you say.
Right.
And I got baptized by fire, and I started doing it like no crazy, just
That
sharing
is
with people. Mhm.
That's incredible because what I'm learning from you this morning is you don't second guess. You see if you have a need or a desire for something better and you see a way, you try it. And then if you need to detour but you don't second guess and
Yeah.
procrastinate. It's like this is a tool. I got a call that I lost my job and this plan got a little bit of a detour, but here's a tool to help me continue my plan.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love
So
that.
I read in a book that I don't know if they compare smart minds and poor minds or something, but poor minds take a long time to make decisions and then they quickly change their mind.
Wow,
And
yes.
intelligent minds or rich minds, they make decisions quickly, but they take a long time to change their mind.
Right.
And so I think I fell into those categories. I made my decisions quickly and I'm not changing my mind until I see results.
I love
Not until
that.
I said I don't have results, then I was like, it's time to change. Like
Right.
when I was in Amway in the 80s, it's like, okay, for 2 years I did it night after night after night after night. When Bob Snyder tells the stories that he was going every night,
Yeah.
I did the same thing, but
Wow.
I didn't get the results that he had. So I have to change, you know,
Right.
I have to
That
change.
that's powerful. So you're wise enough to know when it's time,
Yeah.
but you're not flitting around like shiny object syndrome either. So I
But then
love
in
that.
here, let me tell you, it's been 5 years,
Right.
2017 to now,
Right.
5 years. And my anniversary is coming right along this month. And actually, what day is today? The 12th? Well, yeah, around there.
Yeah.
I signed my ICM around this week. So it's been 5 years exactly to the date.
Okay.
And basically, it's not, everything has not been roses and perfect. Okay. I have
Yeah.
my moments in which, my goodness, nobody signed up, and I don't have another job. This is
Right.
it. I have
Right.
to pay my bills, and I have to pay
Right.
my student loans, and I have to do a lot of things. And this is, my marketing money is my food on my table.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
And I built it at the beginning with a lot of UGAs, and that gave me a lot of passive income for my students already paying their loans. So that have dropped. And,
Right.
and the pandemic came, so I haven't put more people in the loans, and I'm just selling cash pretty much.
Right.
So that passive have dropped from
Right.
5,000 to, and it's been, sometimes guessing if this is the right thing.
Right. Oh
But
yeah, I can totally relate. Yeah.
at that moment, I value the association with whom I am in here.
Mhm.
And I value um, Debbie, and I value Andres, and I value Bob Snyder, and the
Mhm.
commitment that I have to Renatus, and I said, and Michael Huggins, that have
Yeah.
been always there for me. And I'm like, this is the way.
Yeah.
And that's the theme of this year nationals. This is the
Right.
way.
Right.
There's not any other way. So even to struggles to, and what I see, and I've been telling people, it's okay. This is part of your story.
Exactly.
I've been telling you a lot of stories, but through these 5 years, I can tell you a bunch of other stories, even in a successful momentum. So, and that any of these situations is going to relate to somebody out there who's looking for something. So if
Right.
you're not selling and you are in that piece where you're not doing much, it's okay.
Right.
You're
Right.
still here. You're here. And that means that you will get through at a moment. But this is your story, and somebody's going to relate to that.
Right. I love the stories. So let's go let's so if I can summarize and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like, and I say this, and I've lived this too, and I've had struggles, but the wealth cycle was a tool for you to hang in there, stick with that goal, and then you actually were able to complete that goal of yours to get into your first real estate deal, and now you're, as we said,
Yeah,
your 40th real estate deal.
yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Like, tell us about your voyage into real estate, and obviously the wealth cycle helped you actually do that, which is why it's so brilliant. Why Bob Snyder's
Definitely.
such a genius to have created
Definitely.
it.
I started the well cycle, and because I became 5-star, then I qualified for my leadership retreat, and I went. That was in Cancun, the first year that I went to Cancun,
I was
and
there.
I met the Koreas there. So because we build communities right
Yeah.
around the countries, then by October, I was like, oh my goodness, I have a goal. I was doing my marketing and I was doing well,
Right.
but I'm like, I desire to be on a deal by October because that was in my mind since I began. And I was sitting there like, and suddenly I got the call from them. Do you want to be on a deal? I'm like, sure, tell me about it. So they told me, and I flew to Chicago, and then we got in deals. And that's how I began my first few deals. And then I
Wow.
came back, and that took me out of my shell for being scared of doing the action. And then I started to partner with other people. So at the beginning, my first 15 deals, I will say, I partner with other people. I partner with other people using my knowledge and my relationships. So somebody brought me a deal. I didn't have money, but I knew people who had money. I put them together and I said, what is in there for me? So they gave me a 1%, 2%, whatever. I didn't care. 15%, 5% in many. Even I think one or two, I just got like a referral, $500. I don't care, but I was kind of part of the deal. So
Right.
I used that for my marketing, because I went to the house and said, look, I'm in that deal. I signed a joint venture agreement, so I'm in the deal. I don't
Wow.
care for how much. And honestly, I use that for my marketing tool,
Right.
those
Right.
deals. And I was doing good with my marketing, so I just needed to promote more my marketing. So I was putting things online, and people were asking me. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't rushing people, or I wasn't bugging people. People were asking me, what are you doing? I want to do what you do. And then I bring them to the meetings, and then they sign up. So it was easy, and it's easy. It's still easy. You just need to put yourself out there and promote
Right.
yourself. Mhm.
So you use the wealth cycle and you use the relationships that are so brilliant. We are all of us that choose to be in this community and choose to show up and plug in are rich in relationships.
Mhm.
That's a fact. And you have just really epitomized that. So I thank you for that. Such an
The thing is
inspiration.
that sometimes, the drive,
Yeah,
and a lot of people are executive. I'm not
right.
an executive, although after the pandemic, I changed a little bit to executive.
Yeah,
But most of the executives, they need to have control,
right,
right? And because of that, you're probably losing a lot of opportunities, because you don't have to be the owner of the property. You don't have to
right.
have the be on the deal. Just be on the deal.
Mhm.
And I learned with Christian Sadler. I was in a deal with him, and he's like, okay, you're going to be on the deal. And I brought to that deal $120,000, not on my money. I just brought it, and I got 2% only for that deal.
Right.
But he said, you be a fly on the wall.
I
Okay,
love that.
I'll be a fly on the wall. So every time he was meeting with the city for permits and stuff like that, I was there, a fly on the wall. I didn't say any word,
Nice.
just learning. And because I believe, as a teacher and as an educator, I believe in the apprenticeship model. I like to see, or I like to show you how I do it, then you do it, and then I fade away. That's the apprenticeship model. And when you follow that model, it's a very learning strategy, excellent learning strategy.
Right.
You watch somebody doing it, then you're going to do it yourself. That person is going to be watching over your shoulders, and then they're going to let you fly away and probably be here to support you. And that's how I learn, and that's how I'm teaching my team. My team are not taking care of my team like baby chickens under my wings. No, I'm going to enroll you. I'm going to give you a good onboarding, and here's a system. And you
That's
choose with
powerful.
you resonate. You can probably have people from my team in your meetings, or
Mm-hmm.
Richard has a bunch of people from my team in their meetings. The
Right.
Blacks have a bunch of people from my team on their meetings. Michael have a bunch of people from my team on my meetings. Why? Because they plug into where they can fit and they feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because everybody have different personalities. I cannot keep everybody like under my wings, because
Right.
if I die, and this is an experience from COVID, that one of my team members died, and it's okay, what happened now? If I keep all my people under my wings and I pass away, the whole
Then
thing is going to fall away.
right.
But if I plug people into a system, here are the calls, here are the tools. Well, I'm here to support you. Don't take me wrong. Text me even at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't care. I'm going to answer to you.
Right.
And most of you, I'm texting at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I have one of my team members like, you don't sleep. I'm like, no, it's because if I turn around and I pick up the phone and I see a text, I'm going to reply. I don't
Yeah,
care if it's 2 o'clock
me
in the
too.
morning. If you don't want to hear, then
Turn your phone off.
turn your phone off or turn your notifications off because I'm going to reply, when I can reply.
Right.
So yeah, so that's how I operate and it works. I have a lot of people who have been very successful. And I don't claim that success from me. I just claim that success because they plug in. They plug in
Right.
the system. I
Well, and
can
you said something super powerful because there are places, there's a lot of resources across this nation.
mhm,
If you meet someone tomorrow that's on the West Coast or wherever they are or whoever they might resonate with, and that is the power of our nationwide community. And you're so smart to see that. I love that about you, Wanda, because you see the tools and you assess them and you figure out how to use them to
mhm,
yours and everybody else's
yeah.
success. So,
I just plug you into the system. There's a system and plug in. If it's up to you, it's up to you. Your results are in your hand. I
right,
cannot promise you anything. I have one guy who's gonna sign up this week, and I'm like, okay, are you sure you? I'm like, I can't guarantee it. I know what I did, but if you want to do what I do and you want to follow what I do, then you're going to be committed and you're going to be there.
right,
So that's one of the things, every time I have been down, especially during COVID and all of that, it's like, it's okay because we have the right vehicle. There's no other thing out there
right,
that can get you from A to Z in the faster way that we run this vehicle to succeed. And I want to touch back into the story because you mentioned my grandma. So in 2019, her health was kind of declining a little bit. She was a very strong woman, very um, wow, dedicated woman. I don't have any other words to describe her, but honestly, at 100 years old, she fall and she broke her hip, and she got up on that bed like no day. She wasn't staying on that bed, and she got the
wow,
walker and she walked and she lived 5 years later. 5 more years. And normally, most of these fragile ladies at that age they pass away. So
right,
we thought that was like the end, and no, she lived 5 more years. And so in 2019, at the end, I decided when she was living with my dad, and Maria have come and they lost their house, so I bought a house in Florida, in Puerto Rico, and they were living in a house. And then I said, okay, I'm going to be with my dad to help with my grandma. And although she was lucid, she never lost her mind. She never, she walked. She was so strong, even to do the dishes. She's like, no, I'm no manca. They said, I'm not like, I have hands. I do the dishes. Just put them over there and I do the dishes. So I just have to pile the dishes in the sink and she goes to the sink and wash the dishes at that
wow,
age. So she was so determined, so determined. And so basically, I go over there at the end of 2019, and I was going to develop the unit, the community there, and I was
right,
like, okay. But the pandemic came, so not knowing that, I think was a blessing that I had made the decision to be there because then they were not alone. Because we were locked down. And
right,
so I was the person who went to the store to get the food and stuff like that. So I was blessed literally to be there during 2020. And then she passed away at the beginning of 2021 at the age of 105. And I
wow.
always said that I'm going to outlive her by 2 years. So that means I will be living 207. And I have maybe 40, I don't know, I haven't done the count for 49 years more to go. So
Love it.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Yeah.
I love it, and I can see that where you get some of that, hearing about your grandmother. No, I will do it. I love that.
And since
So,
she was a lady, she never learned how to read and write. and she never drove any car,
Okay.
you know. So, but she knew the Bible. She memorized everything. So every time she quoted something from the Bible, she was saying like, "Oh, if they read it correctly to me, this is what it says."
Wow.
It's
That is
interesting, and I like to emulate her in that sense. You know, she was a very funny lady. Even in the last minutes of her life, she was like joking around and stuff. So she's like, I'm not gonna be old and sad, no, you know. So, and I have that spirit from her, I guess. Yeah,
Yes, I love it. Thank you. I'm going
honor
to
to her.
borrow that. I love it.
Thank you.
So you were able to probably, I'm imagining because I've watched your success over the years, you were able to run your business from Puerto Rico while you
Everywhere.
were able to.
Mhm.
So that's pretty cool that we
Yes.
can do that and that you have been able to do that successfully.
Yeah, in 2020, I didn't make, you know, my, because everybody who made the numbers, you know.
I know,
But
I know.
I will go to do my taxes and I'm like, this was a very low year, but it was over $50,000, you know.
Yeah,
So
yes,
for a bad year,
you're
that wasn't,
right.
you know.
No, exactly.
And
I
being
couldn't
locked
agree more.
down in Puerto Rico, not even close to where you have your network, it was pretty
Right.
good. It was pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's go back into real estate here and then we'll open up for questions. But what if some of your, because well, let's go into this. I know some people may have questions about this. You mentioned, and I know from watching you, but I don't know details, that you are really good, as you said, at putting people together, whatever the need is, a puzzle of a deal possibly. But it
Yeah.
sounds like you've also been very good at, again, I love some of the terms you said, the social capital and raising money. And one of the
Yes.
things that we are taught if we plug in Renata's is how to raise money. I mean, Bill has a really good video on that. And so you've actually practiced and took action on raising money and were able to come into these deals. So let's touch on that and then maybe some of your favorite real estate strategies, if you don't
And
mind.
and see, I'm a director, so I don't have systems in place. I don't have databases. I don't have CMRs. I don't have anything. I'm just work. I'm just, you know, at the spare of the moment. So but what I do build is trust and relationships. And people come to me and say, "Hey, I have 401ks, and how much do you have?" Okay, so I keep you posted. And when I have a deal, then I call them. Do you want to invest? And I now have this friend. Remember the friend that I told you that she got me into real estate and
Yeah.
financial school? She's not a member of Renatus, but she is lending me. And now she lent me for one deal like 20. Well, actually, she lent me first like 11,000 for a mobile home. Then she lent me another 20. And then the other day, she's like, I have more money. Okay. She gave me 70. And then she called me like 2 weeks later, I have 40 more. I'm like, okay. So, you know, it's just because when you do things the right way, people trust you and then you do it, right? And she's like a very private money, and I just keep it private. So, and then people in the community who comes, and then my brother, he have used velocity banking so well that he has raised, well, he has made a lot of money and build his 401k differently, and he have used all the velocity banking that he has a lot of capital now available, and his HELOC and all of that, and he lends me. So he's my major primary lender. And
Nice.
then we have another common friend who has money too, and he's now part of the community. So we use, you know, family and friends who have seen me throughout the years to that trust me, and
Right.
that's the thing. And then, you know, I just do the right thing. Mhm.
That is so powerful. As I tell people, and I had to remind myself of this too sometimes because I always had such a scarcity mindset before I found this community. And sometimes I'll slip back into that scarcity mindset and I'm reminded that there's really abundance and with your knowledge and your education and obviously you have amazing people skills and you're just fun to hang out with, but that's it's true, and you've shown us the way for that. So thank you.
And see, I have changed. I use the abundance term a lot, but I do a
Right,
lot of personal development. And
right.
my latest coach, he's like, Wanda, no, not abundance. So even I've been telling this to Michael
Oh,
because
good.
Michael told me the lesson about abundance, and I don't know.
Right.
How do we have time?
Yeah.
Or
What's our new word? I'm ready. I got my pen.
oh, okay, no, but tell me in time because I can
We're gonna
explain.
go till 10:30. So we're gonna open up for questions, and if we,
Okay.
in a little bit, but
Okay, so let me tell you this story about how I learned about abundance. And
okay.
Michael and I, we were at this table eating lunch, and then not knowing for me that he had left his wallet. He didn't have his wallet, but I didn't know this at that moment, right?
Right.
So he turned around and he said, "Wanda, do you have cash?" I said, "Yes." And then, but I think he noticed that I was like, why do you ask me? Kind of, I wasn't that like, yes, I'm gonna give you cash or whatever. So he's like, oh, don't worry about it. Dane will give me his credit card and he will earn his points. I'm like, I can earn the points too if I use my credit card. So right there, I was all, kind of comparing. So he's like, no, Dane will earn his points. I'm like, okay, so let me be quiet because you know how direct is Michael. Michael.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. Then the waitress come and he said, well, there's a donation for this organization. Do you want to donate? And Michael say, yes, Wanda is going to donate. Me? Why me? There's more people here in the table. Me? Okay. All right. So it's $10. Okay, I donate $10. And then the guy comes with the gift card because you earn a gift card. Who do you want this gift card for? Obviously, I'm assuming that it's for me, right? So Michael told him, oh, you can keep it. You can keep it. I pay the donation. I should have the credit card, right? The gift card. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to say a word because he's going to tell me something. So I didn't say anything, but in my mind, it's like, I'm going to go to the podium and I'm going to ask him for my gift card because I pay for the donation. And I'm a
Right.
very giving person. So I can give this to my team members. I can give this to my grandkids, to my daughter. So I'm not necessarily going to keep it. So, but that's in my mind.
Right.
Then suddenly it was time to pay, and one of the other guys, he's like, Michael said, Giancarlos, are you paying like a millionaire? Are you tipping like a millionaire? And he's like, Michael, I don't have any money. How do you want me to tip like a millionaire? So I'm like, three incidents. And I said, Michael, let's have a talk here. I finally talked to him. And I said, what are you trying to teach us?
Yeah.
You you didn't allow me to get the points from my credit card and you asked them to do it. Then you didn't let me take the gift card and you asked me to pay for the donation. And now you're asking him to pay tip like a millionaire. What's and he just do this in his ship. Abundance, Wanda, abundance. And that was where it clicks in my mind that the world is full of abundance. If you look outside, I'm just looking outside my window, I see a tree full of leaves that I can't even count. There's an abundance there. If you look at yourself, there's blood cells all over you running that you can't even count. Your hair, you can't even count. Everything you can count.
Right.
So everything was given to us in abundance, right? So for all these years, I have developed this abundance mindset in which I'm like, I'm just giving out because I know the universe will give me back. And
Right.
that's the way I live my life. However, with me, my last coach, he said, Wanda, no, because abundance can be a negative or can be positive. You can
Okay.
have full of abundance of drugs, abundance of money that you earn illegally,
Right.
Abundance of a lot of things that are not right.
Okay.
That's true. So he asked me to change my word to prosperity.
Okay.
Prosperity. So basically, we live in a way of prosperity. We live a life of prosperity, where that prosperity is going to come, and um, you show prosperity and that you are prospering to people, and then people will follow you because you live a way of prosperity. That makes sense.
Yes, thank you. I love it. I've learned different terms from you today. I'm super
Yeah.
pumped. I agree with that. Okay.
So I'm
Well,
so excited. It's just the other thing is just passion. When you talk to people, it's passion and credibility. People do business with people they trust and they have confidence with.
right.
And that's what you have to project. If you don't have the confidence within yourself of what you are promoting, then they won't trust you.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I did a presentation and I left the house and I was walking with my ICM because it was a cell for my ICMs. And that's the other thing that I build my team. So I enroll somebody and I just run with that person to help them become 5-star. And
That's
that's
so
the key
fun.
here and how you build your team. When you
Right.
build your team, then it's easy because then you are leveraging somebody else's list. You don't have to be looking for your own personal. Once you
Right.
find one personal, then you have 100 numbers more.
Right.
Um, so anyway, I was doing a presentation and the guy got me the credit card. I'm like, and then I walk away and I'm like, bye, and I walk far enough to say, I wish everybody does the same thing.
I know.
But
That's so
some
cool.
people are so ready. There are people out there that are so ready.
Right.
I was
And
ready. So it's up to us to find them, right?
exactly, exactly. So, well, let me ask you this because I want to interject here. I'm curious about some of your favorite real estate strategies, and I'll just tell the group and you. For me, mine is creative, and I am so excited because now that the pandemic is whatever it is, I can't wait around for whatever it's doing. But I'm now back knocking on doors. So today at 4, I have a homeowner appointment. That's my yesterday I saved this couple from getting evicted out of assisted living center that their houses they're losing. I pushed their auction back a month. So I thrive in that, just not for my benefit, but because I don't know. But things are changing in our world, and for you've 40 real estate deals. So like when I talked to Bill, Bill's like, I don't want to talk to that homeowner, so he's got his own strategies. So, what are some of your favorite strategies? And then we'll open up for a few questions.
Thank you for that question. I don't want to talk to that homeowner either.
I do.
I see people working and solving problems, and I love to solve problems, but I think my negotiation skills, and it's not my negotiation skills, don't take me wrong, I'm a good negotiator. The thing is that I lower my prices really good because I'm too giving.
Yeah,
So
I,
I will
I can
negotiate for
relate.
very low price. So it's like,
Yeah,
so people will take advantage of me and then I ended up with nothing on my end. So that's why I like fix and flip, but it's not like my passion. That's I have given me some gray hair here, but
yes,
it's honestly because I have so many financial responsibilities right now. I
right,
told you that my student loans is a mortgage, so I have to tackle that first. And once I have all this massive income, then once I get out of the rat race, then I can do and short-term rental. I'm getting into short-term rental. I have
yeah,
one unit and I want to
me
expand.
too.
So that
Nice,
is basically my niche right now that I'm trying, learning from Jay Massey and all of that and taking the classes. So that is where I'm going right now. But
okay,
it's because I need this massive income. So when I talk about properties and I explain, the deals that I'm doing,
right,
most of them have been fix and flip. Obviously, the first 15 where I just enter deals to support my marketing. I
right,
mentioned that, and that is knowledge and relationships that I use to enter
right,
those deals for very little money, and then but it supported my marketing.
right,
Now that I'm doing my own deals, I mean, number 39 and 40 is under contract. and it's on the contract because the lady died a few days before I closed. I was at the closing table on the December 20th, and then they said, no, we cannot close, she died. I'm like, okay.
Oh,
So the house now is in probate, but I'm not in such a hurry because I have 3 other houses to work with
correct.
that
Right.
my crew is busy enough, so I'm like, okay, leave it there on the contract. Whenever the process ends, and I get it.
Right.
So that will be my number 40, unless I
Nice.
buy something else in between. But the massive income is to satisfy my financial responsibilities.
Got it.
And look at the wording that I'm using. I want to point this out. I'm not
Okay.
using the word debt because I don't have
Yes.
debt. I have financial
Yes.
responsibilities.
Right.
Why? Because when you use the word debt, you will stay in debt.
Ah, yes.
Don't use it. And I don't use the word I want or I need, because you will be talking from the lack of. So
Right.
I desire my aspirations. I don't use the word needs or wants. Those are little things that I have incorporated in personal development into my life that also allow me to succeed. And it's just reading. Reading is so important. Reading books and
Yes.
developing yourself. When you're in the car, just watch one of the classes or listen to a
Right.
book. I don't put the radio at all. I have one of my little cousins, and she's singing songs. I'm like, I never heard that. you know, so it's because I don't listen to music. I
Yes.
Not that I don't enjoy music. I love music, and but there's a moment for everything, right?
Right.
If I At night, I sometimes put my music to go to sleep, but it's like a very sudden music to sleep and to heal. But you just use music, and then when I want to dance, I just have my dancing music, right? So
I
it's
love
different,
it.
but no, I don't spend time listening to music in the car when I can be feeding my brain with something that is positive.
Isn't it powerful when I do the same thing. I don't watch TV. Very rarely will I listen to music, although I love music. But I know that when I feel myself maybe dragging a little, I'm just a class, one of our classes or personal development. I'm always reading or listening to a book on Audible,
Yes,
and it's just so amazing if you just fill your mind with this type of thing. So the sky is the limit.
true.
Um,
Actually, I don't even think the sky is the limit. There's no limits.
I love
I
it.
would say no limits. There's no limits.
That's true. I love it. I love it. So, this is the first coffee and conversation I've ever done that I've not even paid one bit of attention to the chat. Like, I didn't care what anybody was saying. I'm,
So
I'm
you want
really
to check the
enjoying.
chat to see if there's
Yeah,
any questions out there?
yeah, let's see. So, Coco wants to know what word was it instead of debt? It was financial responsibility, right?
I need to fulfill my financial responsibilities. Mhm. When I finish my financial responsibilities, then I can do more passive income. But right now, I'm trying to massive income to fulfill my financial responsibilities.
Right. Right. I love these terms that you've taught me a lot this morning. Um, does anyone, now we've got about 11 minutes and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. And, we've got this on recording, and luckily I can call Wanda a friend. So, and we're part of the same community. So, for that, I'm super grateful. But if anybody would like to come off of mute or type in the chat, but we have to, be mindful of time and not speaking over each other. But does anyone have a question? Maybe if you want to raise your hand, we'll do it that way. I don't want to be a Wanda hog, but I have been this morning. Hi, Kathy. Would you like to come off mute and ask Wanda a question?
Yes, good morning. Yes, I
Good
just found
morning.
um by accident on Meetup, and so I'm just curious. Is it like a group? What exactly are you guys doing? It's like a mastermind group that invest together. Because I'm new here, so I just want to know what's the start and how you get involved and that sort of thing.
Yes. You
Good
want me to answer that,
question.
Debbie?
Yes, yes, and then we can tell them, maybe tell Kathy and everybody else some of the other events that they can plug into to learn more. But yes, take it away, Wanda.
Well, we are an investors, real estate investing community, and it's nationwide. So we have pockets of investors, by regions. So Baby runs like Florida, Georgia, kind of southeast area. I'm within that area, but then I'm here in Florida, Central Florida. So I have my little niche here as well in Spanish. And we have people down in South Florida and all over the nation, in Chicago, in Utah, in the West, in the North, in the South, everywhere. We have
Okay.
over 1,500 investors who meet weekly, face to face and by Zoom, and basically to support each other in our investors' career. But we have a common denominator. We all belong to a Renato school, which is an investors community. So
Okay.
school. So we belong to the school, and then we create our community niche around the country, and we help each other.
Okay. The school. So is that like a requirement to be a part of this group? What is it? Money involved as far as a membership? That sort of thing.
Sure.
Um,
Well, yeah, the school, you have to pay for the school, obviously, because like any school, you have to pay. It's not free.
Right. Right.
But is once you belong to the school, then you can plug into any of the communities around the nation to support your career. Mhm.
Okay.
so Kathy,
Thank
we've
you.
got
Right.
a lot of events that you
Mhm.
can plug in and learn more. Especially if this is your first time to meet us. This is a special event that I get to do once a month,
Okay.
and I get to talk to across this nation. We've got amazing stories and amazing people. And Wanda is one of the most amazing, but she's one of many. There, as she mentioned, stories. So get back. I think it was myself that invited you. So we do something like on Tuesday nights. We do a deal or no deal
Okay.
with Bill Omi. There's lots of communities, as Wanda said. We do like a mastermind, introductory mastermind to who we are on Thursdays. We do Spanish presentations. So Wanda runs Spanish presentations live. We also run one on Thursdays on Zoom. So I run an English and a Spanish, and I don't speak Spanish. So I'm learning though. But
Right.
yeah, so we'll get you plugged in. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So just
Great.
enjoy the knowledge that you've received, and we'll plug you into some more things.
Awesome.
Thanks
Guys,
for the
and
question.
yes, yes. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And you will
Does
not regret the decision if you join us.
No, in fact, Wanda, you've inspired me so much. I'm like, can I sign up again? I'm,
Okay.
I'm I, I love it. Does anyone else have any other questions um, for Wanda, or for me, and just comment? Because I always make time because I can just chew up the time. Hi, Sandra. Do you have a question
Good
for Wanda?
morning.
Good morning,
I
honey.
just want to say that I love Wanda. I love her energy. I think she is such a asset for our community. Um, she is a single mother, and is just so powerful for women. It's difficult sometimes, and I know men are here like, oh my God, they're talking again about women. But you know what? We have to get. We sometimes get divorced. We end up in positions that are very difficult, and to have this community to be able to do it as easy as she's putting it. And we just have to make it happen with the wealth cycle, with the real estate, with the relationships, with the community. So I really want to thank Wanda for being part of our system. Every time I see her, it's like she's always surrounded by 5, 6 people. Everyone to know and get into her mind. So to have this hour and a half with her, it was just amazing. Thank you, Wanda. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sandra.
Thank you so
You're
much. And
you're welcome.
talking about single mother, and I'm a single grandma too, right? I have 10 grandkids. And the thing is that sometimes I see couples and I look and I'm like, maybe it's easier for them to, because sometimes one manage the marketing side and the other one the real estate, like Jazz and Umair, they build such a powerful relationship in their marriage and stuff. And
Right.
sometimes I yearn that, but
Me
what I
too.
want to say is that I'm in this position and it's possible. So anybody out there that feel, oh, but I'm alone, I can do it because I don't have a husband. No, you can do it. Empower yourself and do it because it's possible. If I'm doing it, you can do it too.
Yes, I love it. So, Larabelle, hi, honey. How are you? You want
Hi,
to?
good morning. I'm good. Yes, I did have a question for Wanda.
Okay.
Do you have any advice for somebody just starting out? I've been in Renata since July, and I'm very anxious to work on my relationships within the community to hopefully get my first deal. Do you have any advice that you could give me in working on those relationships?
Thank you, Sandra, for the question. I think it's very, very important. And building the relationships starts with being present. Being present. So just the fact that you hear and you participated, now people are seeing you. So make yourself seen. Make yourself present. Make yourself there. Don't just hide behind the screen and put your picture there, but participate. There are people over here, like for example, Andres. Andres, I never met him. I met him now, but before I built this relationship with him, even through the cameras during the pandemic. Because during the pandemic, I decided we're gonna meet at 1 o'clock. And we are all locked down in our houses and at 1 o'clock. And I have over like 45 people who were meeting at 1 o'clock with me. And I met Sandra Lynette, Andres, and a lot of people who met with me. And that started to build the relationship, even through this camera. And then when we met for the first time, it was like, my goodness, we hugged so much that we didn't want to, stop the hug. And it's because we built that relationship because we were present. We were participating. So even through the Zoom, participate. Now people are saying, Sandra is looking for deals. So see,
That's great
Gracias.
be present.
advice.
Yeah.
Be present. I love
And if
it.
you're going to national, then you're going to make more connections. So I'm expecting everybody over here. We have what? How many people here?
We have 25. We had, I think, about 30. And I'm
But
sure,
nationals, it's
yeah,
important. Being in nationals, that's when you may build the connections. Mhm.
yes. And so, Larabelle, you might want to think about the wealth cycle and nationals. So, we might have to chat about that. And Kathy, I'm
Thank
going to
you.
be in Orlando. If you're around on Wednesday night, I'll be there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So if you want to hook up, and come to our office. And then Wanda's there every week doing
Mhm.
something live.
Yeah,
So,
I'm doing I'm because I have my properties and I try to connect with Aaron and with
right.
Tammy, but the distance, one was the distance and the other one was the price. So I'm like, my team members are like, why we don't meet in our own houses? Because I have the deals.
Yeah, yeah.
So we meeting in the property that I have in Orlando, and that
And
has been very
what night is that? Is
on
that
Thursday. Third.
okay? So maybe I can come see you because I've got to cover Atlanta, but I'll be in Orlando, so I would love to see you. But well, we've got about 1 minute left, and I hope that you guys have just gathered a lot of nuggets from this. I am inspired. I'm going to my homeowner appointments today, so I'm pumped and excited, and I hope that you guys are too. I'm so grateful for Wanda and her grit and determination and her inspiration. So we have time for maybe one last question or maybe one last word from Wanda, and then we're gonna head to an Orlando property tour.
Yes. So yes, I hope my it's kind of it's an epic presentation because I allow people to walk through the house, but I don't go through those numbers or anything. It's
Right.
really an epic.
I
So I
like
don't
it.
make it a house tour. Sorry,
Okay.
my throat is but so if you are in Orlando area, it's in Spanish actually, but we kind of bilingual. And if you ask me, it's in the it's in the calendar. And if you need the Zoom link although in the calendar I don't have it like to be broadcast. I do broadcast if you ask me. So let me know if you have somebody outside the area. I cannot be here, then I can do it. I want to leave you with some last thoughts. And remember when I said that I have to make a decision, I either go back to school, finish my PhD, or I take this road to come and become real estate investor, which was totally a 360 around and change my career. I have a moment of decision. And I love this quote that Tony Robbins says, it is in the moment of decision where your destiny is shaped. So my invitation right now is for you to take your different path, look at your path and make a decision. I made the decision of becoming real estate investor and I'm not regretting it. I know that this was the best decision that I ever made in my life. And I see it because of the results that I have. And while my results are not typical, I know that I have done it is possible. So again, it is in the moment of decision where your destiny is shaped. Shape your life and do better. You can do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda. This has been my absolute favorite coffee and conversation, and I've done really good ones. So thank you. I appreciate your time this morning. I hope all of you guys have a fantastic day. Plug in with us and let us
I have
know.
a question.
Yes.
You say you're going to do a tour today. Is that something you say in Orlando? Is that like one of the deals you're looking at or working on?
Yeah, it's Aaron Holsipole in our community is running it. So I can send you the address if you're close
Yeah,
by.
yeah, that'd
Okay.
be great. I sent you my
Okay.
information as well, and my phone number and my email. I don't know.
I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
Oh,
send you the address and then you can hook up with Aaron.
all right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys. I hope everyone has a fantastic day. If you want, even if you're not in Orlando and you want to plug into the property tour, get the link from the person that brought you here, or you can message. I'll sit on this Zoom for a minute and get you guys where you want to go. And I'm so grateful. I'm pumped and I can't wait to see you at Nationals, Wanda.
Yes, I love
Have
it.
a
Oh,
great
this week,
day.
actually, this week we
Yeah,
can.
I'm going to see you this week and at Nationals.
Yes.
So, all right.
If Bill only left,
He's
Bill,
here. Yeah.
I know I was watching one of your presentations or something, a meeting that you did, and he was talking about this gift card, and I want to know the website.
Oh,
Well, I'm
okay.
still working on it. I don't know
Yeah.
yet what we're going to do.
Oh, no,
So
but I just wanted the website, like
I'll
the.
get it for you.
Okay.
oh, then
Yeah,
you'll
give
get
me
it.
the website.
Yeah, I'll get it for you and then you can help us vet it. How's
Got
that?
it. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys.
All
You.
right.
I
Great.
love you
Great.
all.
Glad I joined you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You are welcome. It is our pleasure. This is my favorite day. So thanks for the inspiration. Go out, go do something
Love you.
amazing. All
Bye-bye.
Thank
right.
you, Wanda and
Bye.
Thank
Debbie. Thank
you.
you.
Bye.